So, what happens when a tech giant like Microsoft has a massive digital blackout? Well, we're going to dive into a recent incident that shows just how fragile the services we all rely on every single day can actually be. All right, let's jump right in.
You've probably heard this phrase kicked around in tech circles before. The cloud is a lie. It's definitely provocative, a little cynical, and it's totally meant to grab your attention. And yeah, it kind of sounds like some crazy conspiracy theory, but it's really just the setup for a very simple and very important punchline.
And there it is. It's just someone else's computer. See, the cloud isn't some magical thing floating in the sky. It's a physical place. It's got servers and wires and power supplies. And just like any computer, it can break. And that's exactly what just happened with Microsoft.
This wasn't some theoretical exercise. We just got a perfect, real-world example of what happens when that someone else's computer suddenly goes dark, and the shockwaves it sends to millions of users and businesses all over the world.
So get this. It all started with a simple power interruption. That's it. A single point of failure at one of Microsoft's US data centers had this massive domino effect, and it hit Windows 11 users and all the services they depend on the hardest.
Let's walk through how this whole thing went down. It all kicked off around 8 in the morning, Universal Time. First, you get the service timeouts. That's kind of the first warning shot that something is really wrong. Then, people start realizing they can't even log in. And finally, the core services just start to crumble. Downloads fail, and critical system updates get stopped dead in their tracks.
For you and me, the impact was immediate. Trying to grab an app from the Microsoft Store? Nope, no luck. And for IT admins trying to push out the latest security patches, the whole process would just fail, leaving devices stuck in this vulnerable, partially updated limbo. This wasn't just an annoyance, it was a security ticking time bomb.
And that's where this story goes from just being an inconvenience for some people to a critical risk for entire companies. For an individual, a failed download is annoying. For a business, well, it's a whole different ballgame. Let's look at that ripple effect.
And look, it's a totally fair question, right? So what if you can't download a new game for a few hours? Why is that such a big deal for a business? Well, the problem goes so much deeper than the App Store. It's really all about security, compliance, and productivity.
And this is where you can really see the dominoes start to fall, and fast. When updates fail, you've got devices missing critical security patches. Boom! That opens up a massive window for attackers. For businesses in areas like finance or healthcare, this could mean falling out of compliance, and we're talking about some serious fines. All while the help desk is getting flooded with calls, and people just can't get their work done. It's a total cascade of failure.
And this quote just nails the danger. This isn't theoretical. Cybercriminals are actively looking for these moments of weakness. They know that a system-wide failure to patch, even if it only lasts for a few hours, is a golden opportunity to strike.
You know, this whole incident really pulls back the curtain on the fundamental trade-off of the cloud. On one hand, we get all this incredible power and convenience, but on the other, we're concentrating all our risk in just a few key places. It's a classic double-edged sword.
I mean, you've seen the marketing pitch, right? The cloud promise, engineered for constant uptime, high availability, all that good stuff. But then, you smack right into the physical reality. When you put all your digital eggs in one giant centralized basket, a problem with that basket affects everyone. That shared risk is the hidden cost.
And these points of failure aren't some abstract concept. They are very real, very physical things. It could be a construction crew accidentally cutting a major fiber optic cable. It could be a cooling system that fails during a heat wave. Or, like in this case, it can be as simple as a power failure. Heck, even one person making one tiny configuration mistake can bring thousands of customers to a screeching halt.
So, if we know this stuff can break, what can we actually do about it? Well, the answer isn't to just give up on the cloud. The answer is to build a safety net. And this is where having a proactive plan and what we call modern IT governance becomes absolutely crucial. A resilient organization always has a plan. That means having solid backup strategies. It definitely means not relying on just one vendor for everything. That's what having a multi-source update capability is all about. It's knowing the status of every single device on your network, actually testing your disaster recovery plan, and having a crystal clear communication strategy for when, not if, things go wrong. Okay, so the ultimate goal here is to get to a point where an external crisis, like this big Microsoft outage, doesn't become your company's internal emergency. It's all about turning a potential disaster into, well, a manageable non-event.
And this is often where something called a managed framework comes into play. You can basically think of it as that digital safety net we were just talking about, but it's all pre-built and ready to deploy so you're not scrambling during a crisis. Let's just connect the dots here, because this is where it gets really practical. The outage caused patch delivery to fail. A managed solution automatically kicks in an alternative workflow. Worried about those missing security patches? It's got continuous monitoring. Not sure if an update actually installed correctly? It verifies success. It's designed to replace chaos with a calm, practiced response.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple but powerful idea. Your security, your operations, they should never be held hostage just because one of your vendors is having a bad day. Your protection has to keep going, no matter what. So, the final question to think about is this. We all know our businesses run on the cloud. But after seeing just how easily it can all be disrupted, is your business really built on solid ground?